This video is quotes, and the person being quoted today is Durian. His other real name was like Harley Johnstone. He's one of the most famous people in the vegan community. He competes in running races and in bicycle races. Okay, and that's one of the things I really like about him, you know, that he is a competitive athlete, and he's coaches competitive athletes. So he's really interested in trying to optimize performance, because most of the vegan world is middle-aged and older people, helping them to lose weight and to recover from a disease. So it's kind of fun to see somebody who's working with competitive athletes trying to optimize performance and some of his insights. So he's real smart, you know, he knows what he's talking about. He's also brave. He's not afraid to confront people and talk about challenging, unpleasant things. And he, you know, here's what he says. He says, I read books on sports performance, diet, and health. Then I try things out with myself, my girlfriend, and the people I coach. So I know what works, not just from reading about it, but from personal experience. He says, I have trained thousands of athletes in running, sports, and bicycle racing. I have been coaching people in weight loss for a long time. So he's got a lot of practical experience. And he tweaks it, you know, he makes a mistake, he learns, and he does better the next time. So he knows a lot. Okay, here's a quote from him. He says, to improve athletic performance, you should carb up and hydrate before you work out. You know, that'll get your muscles working at an optimal rate. And he tests it. They've got things they can measure, power meters, on how well they're pedaling the bicycle. So he can tell if performance is improved or not. He knows. That's valuable information. He says, you're always better off eating more carbs than too few carbs. The best diet, he says, for losing weight is vegan diet, low fat and low protein. So gee, he agrees. Big surprise. Somebody who actually really cares about results, they know that's true, okay? You know, low fat diet and low protein is beneficial as well, because during the fasting phase, so when you eat, that's called the postprandial. Prandial means eat. So postprandial is after eating, but in the fasting phase, your liver has to make glucose to release into the blood for the brain. That's the main thing the liver does. It's the most important thing the liver does. And it can burn glycogen, you know, for about a day, day and a half, but it starts running out of glycogen and it starts converting amino acids into glucose. That's called gluconeogenesis. If a person eats a relatively low protein diet, then they won't have so many amino acids sitting around. What they will do instead is they will break down fat, break down triglycerides, and it'll actually burn the fatty acids. A triglyceride is 3 fatty acids and a glycerol backbone. They'll burn the 3 fatty acids. James Mitchell gave a good lecture about this at Buchinger-Wellhame Clinic. They'll burn the 3 fatty acids just as, you know, brown fat for heat, and they'll send that glycerol, 3-carbon skeleton, over to the liver to make it into glucose. So you lose a lot of weight. So he's exactly right. Eat a low-fat, low-protein vegan diet. So eat tons of carbohydrates. He's always saying, you know, carb the F up, all right? He sometimes talks about eating raw till 4, and then he loves white rice for dinner. He says, white rice is the best starch. White rice is the king of the starches. I love white rice for dinner, but not for breakfast. He said the second best starch is corn, but of course it would have to be organic corn. He says if you want a single-digit body fat, you should eat rice and vegetables. The other thing that's interesting about him is he lives in Thailand or something, or some other places. So he works with a lot of people from other countries, as well as athletes, you know, from the Western world, so to speak. So he's got a wide variety of seeing the epidemiology, and it kind of reminds me of how Dr. McDougall, you know, was in Hawaii for a long time, and he met all these Japanese people, for example, transitioning from Japan to Hawaii, then to California, and he saw that progressively the generations would get fatter and sicker as they westernized their diet. You know, the old grandparents eating the old Asian rice-based diets would be skinny and healthy, and then the kids would be fatter and sicker, and then the grandkids would be much fatter and sicker. Okay, so anyways, yeah, and he has videos where he shows, you know, people in Asia and how thin and fit many of them are eating these old plant-based, rice-based diets. He says bananas and dates are the best fruits. He says the most common thing people say to me is, you are too skinny, and then they tell me my diet advice makes people fat. He says sugar increases performance more than caffeine does by far. Music can increase performance. Going to bed early and getting your sleep will improve mental clarity and increase testosterone and performance. Meat and dairy make people fat. And he calls all these other people names. He's kind of funny. He says everyone who eats a high-fat diet has diabetes. Just test them with the oral glucose tolerance test after a high-fat meal. and they will fail. Okay? Consistent with diabetes. He says, these meat eaters have such fat cheeks. If a chipmunk saw them, he would hump their leg. Okay, and he does a lot of funny things too. One of the things that he cracks me up is he always has a really beautiful girlfriend. Okay? And then he'll be talking and he'll go off on a rant. But while he's ranting and raving about something funny, he's pretty funny, he'll show his girlfriend. His girlfriend will be like this foxy babe with a beautiful chest and a beautiful body. And the camera is on her. So for the male viewer, you're sitting there staring at his beautiful girlfriend while he's ranting on and on in the background. It's just funny, okay? And of course, you know, he's interested in bicycle racing and road racing and running and stuff. So he's got lots of videos on that sort of thing. Anyways, that's a couple quotes from Durian Ryder. You can check out his YouTube channel. It's just his name, Durian Ryder. I'll put a link to it in the description below. Hope you find it helpful and enjoyable.